Hey guys, welcome to Broad Street to Britain with me, Dave Shaw, and as ever, I'm joined by Richard Skinner and special guest John Foley at 2008 Phillies, of course, and on Pattisons.com as well. No Alex Carr this week. We're recording on a different day. He can't do this today, but he will be back next week. But I am personally I'm still buzzing from home opening yesterday, the opening weekend so far. It's been great. Richard, it's been your first opening weekend experience, first home opening yesterday. Man, this is as good as it gets, buddy.
It's been fun, man. Obviously, we could be 4-0, but that's asking for a lot. We've done really well, I think, all 4 games, even the one we lost. Enjoying it. All been UK friendly games, so no super late nights yet. Good start.
We've been pretty blessed, and the Phils usually, and don't get used to this, mate. I can tell you for starters, because UK friendly times.
Yeah, I've seen the next couple of weeks. It's rough. It's rough.
Their record was pretty rough last year with UK friendly times, so make the most of this. Make the most of this. And our first late game is unfortunately game 2, and then the Taiyo Walker one's back on UK friendly. So
can't wait.
No, look, we're being positive about Taiyo. Let's keep the faith. And of course, for the first time this season, John Foley is here with us. John, how are you, my man? Great to have you back on.
Thanks, man. It's been a minute. Happy to be back on. Loving the start of the season so far. I mean, so far so good. I know we're playing the Nationals, the Rockies, and people are going to run their mouths about that. But look, it's better to be beating those teams on top of the standings. I'd rather do that than go 0-5 against some tougher competition like certain teams that I won't mention by name.
Exactly. And the Phils have a reputation of tripping up against these sort of teams anyway. It's nice that we're actually, so far, getting the business done. I know there's still 2 more games in the Rockies series, but that National series, well, okay, we do have their number a lot of times. And to a lot of people, of course, we can't beat teams over 500. It doesn't count.
Right.
I think it's a good confidence booster. I think it's good to get these wins under their belts early. Winning breeds confidence. It brings a mentality. I was just saying before on air, we can't really complain, but there's a couple of things that I think we can dive into. But those of you who don't know John Foley, there's, if you're watching on YouTube right now, there's his Twitter handle is also. You're on Blue Sky as well, aren't you, John?
I am on Blue Sky as well. Same handle at 2008 Phillies.
And as you can see, just under 38,000 followers, John. You've taken off, buddy.
It's wild, man. It's wild. I want to get to 42.5. I want to sell out at the bank.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And of course, since we last spoken, you're now with at On Pattison, Pattisons.com, which has really been up and coming. You've got to be really happy with the way it's going. Of course, you've got Tim Kelly down there, Carl Scott. You've got a great team down there. How you enjoying it?
It's just an incredible team. I couldn't be happier. I mean, I think most folks in the Philly sports community are familiar with Tim Kelly's work with the Phils, with Andy Sanfilippo's work with the Phils. So we've got 2 guys in the box. We've got me hanging around the periphery. We have an incredible Phillies team, and then we've got Austin doing Sixers. Anthony also is credentialed with the Flyers. So we've really got a great group, and of course Kyle at the head of it. He knows what he's doing with this stuff. For those who don't know, he founded Crossing Broad, built that, sold it, and is on to the next thing. So tremendous team, and especially excited for Philly season, and all the content we're going to bring all year long, and it's all free, no paywall.
Woo!
All days. No sign and no paywall. Just go to the website and read. And
that's what I've been using you guys in the off season for some of the stats, because it's great. It is just it's nice to be free. It's nice to click on a link and go, oh, there's no paywall. You're reading through. You're getting your info. Does this mean for you that you've got media passage? You're down there in a dugout. You're getting to see the players.
Yeah, I'm back and forth. So Tim and Anthony are going to be our primary folks. There's a limit to how many guys we want to squeeze in the box at one time. It's precious real estate, and we're still in our first year of operation, so we can't crowd it too much. But I'll certainly be around the ballpark a lot.
Absolutely. And talking about on the ballpark, you weren't there yesterday, but you were in DC, which was pretty much what Citizens Bank South, isn't it? I was there last year. It was a lot colder than what it was the weekend just gone. I've never been so cold at a sporting event, and that's saying something. But the weather looked glorious. Apart from the shadows, weather looked glorious. You were down there. How was it? Come on, give us the inside. The atmosphere sounded great on TV. It looked spectacular. The Phils took the series win. How was it for you?
It's great. It's a ton of fun. Opening day is the one day where you will actually see it filled with mostly Nationals fans. It was a little bit jarring to approach that park, which we have come to know and love as Citizens Bank Park South, and see so many Nationals fans there. It's kind of like, what are they all doing here? This is the Philly day. So that was opening day. It was terrific. They were booing Bryce Harper like crazy. His first couple at bats, losing their minds when he struck out. And of course, we all know how he feeds off the negativity. Third at bat comes up, crushes one over the wall, and silenced those folks pretty quick. Took his time around the bases. I was fortunate enough to be at the 2 wins and didn't go to the loss. So
good luck, Charm.
On a personal level,
you gotta go to every game.
On a personal level, it was a very very successful weekend in DC.
Absolutely, and for anyone who hasn't been, DC, like I said, I went last year. DC's nice as a city. I really like the city. Cherry blossom. Last year, ironically, the day I got there was the day after they had a big storm, and there was nothing left.
Cherry blossoms out.
Yeah, it looks spectacular. And then the ballpark itself, I was saying on the watch long yesterday, it's kind of like, for those here in the UK, it's kind of like Wembley, London Stadium. It's very built up. A lot of bars, a lot going on around the ballpark, and the ballpark's nice. There's nothing, hasn't got that much character, but it's nice. I wouldn't say it's a dump. I wouldn't say it's rough. The area is really nice. They've done it up really well. It's worth doing it. What isn't the train to Washington? It's about 50 minutes, just under an hour, isn't it?
From Philly to DC?
Yeah.
A little longer than that. I'd say probably 2 hours. But
you have to get to Baltimore first, don't you? Yeah, of course. Yeah, you got to go through
Baltimore in about 45 minutes. So 2 to 3 hours. But if you're traveling by train, that's a terrific way to travel. Or you can just shoot down 95 down the East Coast there here in the States, and it's a quick trip. And the cherry blossoms are in full bloom. The Phillies are winning. It's great. Like you said, the ballpark doesn't have a ton of character. They're trying to do what they can do. It takes time to develop, but it's nice. It's new. It's functional. There's good food options, and the main thing is just all the bars and restaurants in the area. Very fun and very different. Philly. There's a huge debate over bars and restaurants around the ballpark versus sort of tailgating culture that we have at the Philadelphia Sports Complex. If you're used to Philly, it can be a lot different to be at the Nationals ballpark or at, say, Camden Yards if you're sticking on the East Coast. And you've got all these bars and restaurants around in lieu of sort of the tailgating that you're used to seeing around the bank. So it's a whole different culture, but it's a fun one. There's no shortage of things to do before and after.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was the first time I went to DC. Was the thing that got me actually was just the difference. I wasn't ready for the difference. I'm so used to Citizens Bank Park, tailgating. I was like, there's no tailgating. But then getting into the bars, talking to people, the atmosphere is the same, and that's what I found. And everyone's in a great mood. Of course, it was a Philly takeover. So many Phillies fans. Nationals fans are fine as well. They were generally, the ones I spoke to, very knowledgeable. Had nothing against the Phillies, really, just more against Bryce Harper more than anything else. And it was a good fun time. Just the weather was vile, but it was different this time around. And then yesterday, let's go into yesterday very quickly before we dive into the players. What a great outcome. It was looking a little bit hair raised, a little bit nervous. But opening day looked absolutely spectacular. John, your thoughts on it? I thought Sanchez was excellent. The bats, the ball again. We had to wait till we get to the bullpen. We got Marquez out the game. Bats came alive, but I liked it. The Phils are winning games of 3-1, and I feel like we haven't even got out of second or third gear yet.
Yeah, you get the feeling that they're playing really well, and they still have plenty of room to improve, especially early in the games. Get the bats going earlier. I personally, I think that's a little bit of an anomaly how they're doing against starting pitchers versus relief pitchers. And certainly if you look at the overall stats, I think a lot of that was influenced from that opening day game against Mackenzie Gore, who was just nasty, and you had the shadows. So that really, I think, skewed things. But for the most part, you have to be really pleased with how the team's playing. You mentioned Sanchez. That's somebody I'm really high on this year.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just been a delight. Last season, he already took one giant leap forward, and now he's always had this velocity in him, but he hasn't always had the confidence to locate with the velocity where it is now. So, he moved up a couple ticks last year, and if you can move up a couple ticks this year and maintain that command and still have those secondary pitches, which he seems to have, working, seems to be sort of firing on all cylinders. That's a complete package, and that's a really lethal weapon in the Phillies rotation.
Me and Richie, we've been high in the preseason talking about Sanchez. There's no reason why he can't get just to below Wheeler's level, possibly even. He seems that the sky's the limit for this guy. And we were watching the game yesterday, Richie. We were saying how we wanted to see a sort of a chart of his strikeouts because they all seem to be low, didn't they? Low and away, and they just the ball just seems.
Yeah, I was hoping Alex would be here because he'll probably know like exactly percentages of where he threw everything. But just watching it live, just seeing like that low pitch was really doing a job for him,
doesn't it? It just seems to look fine, straight, and then dips. And although the Rockies are quite free hitting team as well, but they just weren't reading it at all. And they made that one mistake at the end where it just didn't quite dip enough. And then they got hold of one. But
one mistake, but one bad pitch out of that outing. I think the final pitch of the outing, I'll take it. And then, the bats came alive late. And as so far, that's been the MO this season. And,
which again is good. It's already shown us that the Phils can go behind and they've got it. They can come back. They've done it. And I love that mentality. We'll get into the guys in a minute because I'm excited to talk about Souza and some others. But so far, what have we learned so far? Richard, what's impressed you so far the most out of these first, 4 games?
Yeah, I think obviously the pitching's been really good outside of, that one mistake, and Nola had that one innings, which Nola often does. But I think the amount of talk about the bats coming into the year, and we've not maybe faced, most of the hits have been against bullpens, and we've not maybe faced the strongest bullpens, but there was so much talk about the hitting, and we were talking yesterday about how pretty much everyone on the team's got a hit other than Trey, but he's obviously missed a couple of games. His at-bat last night, although, he didn't get a hit, he got the walk. He saved the season, as we joked about, after that first pitch where he swung, and we thought, oh no, this is the Trey Turner experience in full swing. But I think the bats have really impressed me, and certainly Max Kepler coming in, with the amount of talk about the outfield, he's been great.
I think what's impressed me as well is the amount of home runs we've had so far this year.
Yeah,
it seems to be the small ball hasn't been quite an effect yet, which last year for long periods of games and spells we were pretty small ball heavy, but the long ball is certainly there. John, what's impressed you the most so far from what you've seen?
I think the balance. I think if you take a look at the team's offensive stats, I think you've got maybe 7 regulars with an OPS over 800. I mean, these are early season stats. Take everything with a grain of salt, especially something like OPS that can fluctuate wildly. But again, if we're just talking about what we've seen so far, I mean, you've got guys up and down the lineup that are doing well. You're not too concerned about, I think, maybe the one person struggling, JT Realmuto.
Yeah, just
dive
into going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, so it's tough to get 9 guys going at the same time. But if you've got 7 with OPS is over 800. That means you're hitting the ball well, and the rotations look solid. Again, Nola had one of those sort of classic Nola games, and that's going to happen throughout the season. But overall, he's going to be strong. You saw flashes of brilliance even in that start that ended up being sort of a mess by the end. Victim of the long ball, as he so often is. But and the rest of these guys, Wheeler, Luzardo with his 11 strikeouts,
incredible.
You worry about Ranger being healthy, but every team's got concerns when it comes to the Phillies. You look at the lineup, you look at the rotation, and you look at the bullpen, and you feel pretty good right now about all of them.
Absolutely, and it was Nola 8 strikeouts. At times, again, like you said, typical Nola outing. At times, he looked brilliant, and then all of a sudden, it could even be the next pitch later. One mistake, and he's always punished. But he's a renowned slow starter, is Nola. It's not until it starts to get warmer, Nola seems to get more comfortable. I can remember his first months, especially at March and April, being quite torrid. Nola usually then settles down the more the weather warms up. But
he's from Louisiana. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
The humidity. I don't know.
I'm not too worried about the Nola outing. I think he'll be fine. And as well now with having the likes of Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo backing him up, Suarez to come back, Painter to come through. Yeah. You can sort of it's okay. Luzardo I thought was, although he allowed 2 runs, 5 innings, 11 strikeouts, you can't ask much more than that, and from what he was originally brought in to be a 4th, 5th starter.
Yeah, I think he's intended to be the number 5 guy. I mean, they rejiggered the rotation, split up lefties and whatnot. But when Ranger's healthy, you think of Luzardo as the 5th guy, and to come out and have an outing like that, I mean, looked sharp. And same as Nolan, it was really just one mistake on the day on a home run ball, but for most of the game, he looked terrific.
Do you see Topper changing that rotation soon? Because at the moment we are sort of a bit out of sync. Where Wheeler's going to go again tomorrow, actually, and then it'd be Walker, and then with Luzardo, Nola, Sanchez. So we're sort of now Luzardo in the 2-hole. Did you see down this line? Because people thought we were going to go Wheeler, Sanchez, Nola, Luzardo. Do you see it going back to that, or do you see at the moment it's sticking the way it is?
Yeah, I think at some point they'll have an opportunity to maybe move it around. I think in the playoffs last year, right? It was Wheeler and then Sanchez game 2, and then Nola 3. Part of that. So there's breaking up the left-handers, and then also they do seem to buy into this idea that Sanchez performs better at home, for whatever reason. Whether that's true or just a statistical anomaly, is unclear. I asked Rob Thompson about it last year. He said he thinks it's just random. He doesn't think Sanchez has a problem with playing on the road. Then the NLDS comes around and they said, well, actually, we really like we'll put Nola in the hospital environment, and we'll let Sanchez do his thing back at the bank. So I do think that could change at some point, but I wouldn't read too much into the order that they're going through the rotation isn't necessarily who your number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we know Topper likes matchups, doesn't he? I think he's already looking ahead to that. I know Sanchez will get the ball in Game 3 of the Dodgers series, I believe, again at home. That's a series I really can't wait for. And then we've got another day off, so he then may try and mix it up again. But the rotation is already showing early signs of what we're hoping it's going to be. JT out the 4-hole. Yeah, I don't see this lasting too much longer. Would you swap him and Casty?
Yeah, I would for now. I think so. When Turner's healthy, so that pushes JT and or Casty, whichever one of them you want ahead. That pushes them back to 5 already. I do think JT. I'd like to see him 6 or below. In a world where they're all playing their best, he's not at 4 or 5. You've got Castellanos up there higher, and if you want to, Topper's of course big on the maintaining the righty lefty balance. So if Kepler keeps looking as impressive as he has been, you might see him pretty high up in the lineup. And there's a lot of options there, as evidenced by the fact that they've got two completely separate leadoff hitters and
exactly.
for right-handers and left-handers.
I think Richard, you said yesterday you're going to get Kepler's jersey, right?
That's the plan. Yeah, I need a new one for. I've got two for. I've got a Harper and I've got a Wheeler. We're doing 3 games in June, so I need one for each day. So I think it's going to be Kepler.
Absolutely, and you need one in each of the different colors. You need a powder blue,
right?
Yeah, well, I've got a powder blue. I've got a City Connect, and then I think cream's the next one.
Okay, yeah, no, can't go wrong with creams.
No, you can't get.
I try to avoid red, but it's just out of my other sports teams. But it's harder in the field.
and Kepler 11 at bat so far, 4 hits, 2 doubles, 1 home run, 1 RBI, and. For me, like when he came to the plate yesterday, it felt inevitable he was going to get on base already. He brings that confidence. That start of the season, I saw a lot on social media going, "Oh, he could be the next Whit Merrifield, good spring, and then it's going to fall away." But I think this is, and I've said it before in the pod, I think it's going to be one of the most underrated signings in baseball, because what this guy brings, if he stays healthy, is going to be pretty much what we've seen of him already in these first 4 games. And people saying he could be platooned in the outfield, but right now you got to start him every day, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, they certainly see him as an everyday player. That's what they brought him in to be. I was surprised at the time that they went with a left-handed bat. To me, a combination of Rojas, Marsh, and Kepler out there in center and left field, it seemed to me very similar to just Marsh and Rojas.
Yeah.
The idea you would add another lefty-handed bat that would sort of be Marsh sometimes, but from what we've seen, at least early on, from Kepler, he's more than that. You're going to be your everyday left fielder, and then Marsh and Rojas platooning in center, and you feel pretty good about that. And honestly, I think the plan is for Marsh to be every day as well. He's had a little bit of success against left-handed hitters early on, so didn't love the signing at the time just because of left-handedness, but. Kepler has proved me wrong here in the early going, and I hope it continues. I mean, from what you've seen so far, it's just, the phrase professional hitter gets tossed around a lot, and it's unclear what it really means, but that's really the sense you get. He's a veteran. He's been a very important piece for Minnesota for years, and now he comes here and he doesn't have as much of a weight on his shoulders. He's got teammates to rely on, and he's more of a complementary piece, and that might really free him up to have a fantastic season.
Look at the Twins around him.
Well, yeah, they've had a dreadful start to the season. They have,
without him,
yeah.
He was keeping things together there, maybe.
You're right. The way he comes across, especially in his interviews, it's like he brings an aura of calmness. Actually, like he knows his role, he knows who he is. He knows what he's bringing to the team. Even his at-bats, like I said, when he got up there, you just feel like he's going to get on base. It's a lovely feeling to have.
Yeah, he's for sure like one of the guys that I feel most confident out when he comes up that he's going to do something.
Yeah, it was a bit like Alec Bohm last year for a large majority of the time. That if his runner's on base, he's going to come through. Another one of those, Edmundo Souza. Like, what an incredible, insane start he's had. 11 ABs, 6 hits, 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, coming through clutch. Yesterday helped turn the game around. And you were saying that yesterday, Richard, like, you sort of struggled to keep him out the lineup right now. And Trey's going to come back on Wednesday. What do you do? His bat's too hot to be on the bench, right? I know it's likely he's going to be on the bench, but he can play outfield. He can play infield. He's a super utility guy. What do we do?
Well, it is tough to keep him out of lineup the way he's hitting right now. I've got friends and family texting me, keep Sosa in, forget about Trey Turner. I don't want to. Let's not forget about Trey Turner. Trey Turner is a superstar in this league.
Right.
There's 300 million reasons why we're going to keep him out there. I think we have seen this from Sosa at times where he looks incredible, and I think he's best utilized as in that super utility role. I'm not sure if he could keep up this kind of. Well, I know he couldn't keep up this kind of pace. I'm not sure where his numbers would end up if he were forced into an everyday role. But talk about the guy you want off the bench with the defensive versatility to play all over the field and play well. Probably better defensively as shortstop than Turner. He's perfect. I think Anthony wrote something about this on the On Pattisons website. You can't ask for somebody better coming off the bench for any purposes right now. So love Sosa, love what he's doing. Not going to forget about Trey Turner. Not going to forget about what Trey Turner can do when he gets hot. And it's a beautiful problem to have. And Turner will get back in there when healthy, and Sosa will be the first guy to fill in wherever he's needed.
Yeah, and the good thing is, like, we need to rest players like Stott, like Turner, like Bohm, or even in the outfield. If we want to rest Cassidy, Sosa can now play everywhere. Like you said, the perfect guy to bring in. I think Sosa will see more at bats this year just because of the form he's carrying right now, and because we do have that luxury of we can rest a player or two down the line, and you got your perfect replacement right there. I love the way he plays the game as well. Like, his passion just shines through. His celebration, how much it means to him, and how much he gets Philly. I think I saw in an interview today the quote that the great city, the best team, best teammates, like awesome. I know it's sound bites, but you love to hear it though.
But it's true and it's genuine. And I've met him, and he's a humble guy. He's a nice guy. And then yes, his energy is just sort of infectious out there on the field with the hits, the celebrations. I think it was telling in the NLDS last season that he started a game, when Rob Thompson said, we just felt we needed an energy boost, and that's who they turn to, because he's pretty much, he'd have a starting role on a lot of Major League Baseball teams. He's capable of being a starter, as we've seen recently, and to have him as an option to come off the bench and provide that kind of energy, provide his bat, provide his excellent defense, especially in middle infield. Can't say enough great things about the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Cassidy, 13 at-bats, 4 hits, 4 walks overall. We're loving that. Cassidy getting on base. Kyle Schwarber, 17 at-bats, 6 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. Absolutely. I know you're on the Schwarber watch. Do you reckon 50? I
reckon 50. 50. That's my prediction. And so far he's ahead of the pace.
Want to smash that.
So it's fantastic to see him off to a hot start. We all know what he's going to do when the weather heats up in June when we get towards hitting season. But to see him get off to a start like this is it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And again, you have that air of inevitability of when he gets the plate, like even his foul balls are going along.
Yeah.
No, and I think in Washington the other day when he was due up with the bases loaded, everyone was thinking grand slam. Now a run scored on a wild pitch, but he still hit the home run anyway.
And then he hit the home run. Yeah.
Basically, that counts as a grand slam, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll claim it. We'll claim it. And then Bryce, 5 hits. I look at the stats. I'm like, he's got 1 RBI, which will be the home run on opening day. He's just hasn't had, but because the problem is Kyle keeps clearing the bases, and then he's usually the next one up with nobody on. But Bryce looks fine defensively, excellent. He's still got 5 hits. He just
his numbers here, and where's he at? He's hitting 294, 804 OPS. So he hasn't. And and he'll make his splash sooner or later. He'll have one of his 3 home run games. And we're like, yep. Also, Bryce Harper is still a superstar on this team. But for right now, if the problem is the bases are cleared by someone ahead of him, fine. That's fine.
Yeah, he's had that. I don't think he's had the opportunities. I don't think I can't figure off the top of my head if he's had many runners in scoring position to even be an opportunity to bring home an
RBI. Without looking at numbers and just based off memory, it just hasn't happened to come up in many huge spots. a lot of that is, he's batting a little earlier in the lineup, so that could be part of it. But
I do. He's got 5 hits, and the swing looks. He's such a pure hitter. I love the way he swings, and he looks healthy. Bryce is Bryce. He said he's going to have that 3 homer game and come out on one of his hot streaks. Alec Boehm, 19 at bats so far, 5 hits, 1 double, 3 RBI, using the torpedo bat yesterday, and he got a hit with it as well. But overall, Boehm started well. He had a good spring. He's come in. Okay, I want to see less of the hit himself around the head of his bat. And
I was so worried when he hit himself with the torpedo bat. It was, one, are we regressing here from that maturity, that newfound maturity? And 2, I don't know what the torpedo bat does with its extra respawn when you.
I feel like the Boehm hitting himself with the bat thing. People, I don't know. I feel we're reading too much into it. Like, he's looked better in general. Like,
yes,
I know he's had issues, but like Bryce goes off and smashes his helmet into the dugout. Like, I know Boehm was had more of a history of like struggling with that side of the game, but I think it's a one-off. Like every other retirement, he's looked bad.
Richard, I think you're exactly right. I mean, like, everybody's still going to have frustration at times, including new mature Boehm. It's not allowed. It's not like he's not allowed to have moments of frustration.
Yeah, and I think if he struggled, WIP would probably be up there saying, "Oh, Boehm doesn't care anymore."
Right.
Like, he struck out. He doesn't care. It's like, you can't win sometimes.
But I saw him in one post-game interview, and he sounded like a completely different guy. He's joking around. He's
that game, that interview with John Kruk.
I think so. Yeah, where he's
talking about his
haircut.
the shadow.
He's joking around. It's like, who is this man? Is that?
Smiling. Look, it was great to see. I still think he'll get to near 100 RBI this year. I'm not. People are a bit worried about his power, but for me, just keep driving the runs in. Like, we've got Kyle, we've got Bryce, we've got Kepler.
Yeah.
We've got power bats. As long as Boehm just drives in the small ball, gets on
those
base.
Doubles in the gap. They don't. It doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be a 30 home run guy. He'll get his 15. He'll get his 20, and a ton of doubles, and that'll that's all they need. And they need.
I think everyone forgets
Boehm, they just need contact in the middle of all the 3 swingers.
Yeah.
If Boehm's even if he's making outs, if he's making those productive outs, and batting up there at the top, near the top of the lineup, that's exactly what you want out of him.
Exactly. And I think many people forget, before he got injured, he was by quite some way the doubles leader in the Phillies lineup and the RBI leader. He would have, injury aside, he would have had over 100 RBI quite easily and would have probably led doubles. I think he was in the top 10 for most of the season in terms of doubles in the MLB as well. So give me that. That's what I want, because you got to have small balls are. You got to win games in all different ways, and the small ball will come good. Quickly to Bryson Stott, last one of the outfielders. What have you made of Bryson so far? I for me, from what I see, already a lot better than last year. He's swinging much more freely. He's had a bit of bad luck, but he's had some hard hit contact. He's also had not a lot go his way, actually. So but overall, the gloves there always will be. But I mean, I've been much more impressed with his at bat. So far.
I have as well. The sort of the background there. You never know how serious these kinds of things are. These guys don't tend to open up about their injuries much in interviews. Everybody's always worried about, will it look like I'm making excuses if I talk about how I'm not completely healthy and that's why my numbers are down. So you haven't really heard that out of him, but by all indications are he was not right last year for pretty much the entire season. And that makes perfect sense given the results that we saw and given the talent that we know he has. So I'm really big on Stott, as are a lot of folks, having a bounce back year. And that's really a place where, you look at his numbers from last year, that's a guy who can really give you a lot more than he gave you last season. And then that's a lot of improvement from within. So maybe you didn't go out and sign like a monster free agent, but if Kepler turns out to be pretty good and, guys Stott can step up and give you a little more, if everybody just does a little more there, this is a talented enough team to win a championship.
The biggest encouragement for me was Bryson's back to hitting with 2 strikes against him again. He was renowned for down in the count, 2 strikes, and coming through, and he's already showing that. And Bryson having a big bounce back year is massive for the Phils. You saw it yesterday, him getting on base and then turning getting on base behind him. The speed of those 2 alone drove in those RBIs for Souza. That's crucial.
Yeah, that can be a fantastic combo. And one thing Stock brings to the lineup when he's really playing his best is just seeing a lot of pitches. So if we talk about the Phillies maybe struggling a little bit against starting pitching and just feasting on bullpens, well, one of the ways you get from the starters to the bullpen is by running up those pitch counts, and one of the best in the lineup at that is Bryson Stott.
Yeah, absolutely. And the bullpen so far. I've been pretty happy. Alvarado, stress-free innings from Alvarado so far, relatively.
Oh man, that's another guy had huge hopes for coming into the season. Saw the shape he was in day one in spring training, and then the results he was having in the spring. It was just like 20 strikeouts to 1 walk or something ridiculous.
Yeah, like he didn't give any runs at all.
No. And spring training stats, take it with a grain of salt, but I mean, the man just looked impressive. He's topping 102 on the radar gun. Is basically unhittable when he's on, and that's what we've seen early in the season here so far.
And I was happy for Romano yesterday that his bounce back, and again a little bit of a sluggish start, but then I think he got 2 Ks after that, 3 Ks, and his command looked good. I can see that. I can see the stuff in him. I can see what the Phils saw in him. I think with him, it's going to be consistency. We need that. But I think overall, we've got a good bullpen.
I mean, you feel great about Alvarado. You feel great about Kerkering. I think he really showed us something that one day with the crazy defensive misplays in Washington. I think put a couple runners on base that were certainly not his fault. And then he worked out of the jam with a runner on third with less than 2 outs. That really shows you something. This is a guy you can trust in high leverage situations. A guy you can bring in hoping for strikeouts. If you're facing left-handers, you bring in Alvarado. Say it's extra innings, you're trying to strand that ghost runner on second. You need strikeouts. You've got Alvarado coming in as a left-handed piece. You've got Kerkering as a right-handed piece. You've got Strom as a left-handed piece. And the guy you mentioned, Romano, I think Romano is possibly his preferred pronunciation. I'm hearing it both ways. But if our friend Jordan,
Jordan,
you got to remember he had an excellent track record, prior to going down with injury. And I would not be surprised if it takes a little time to get the rust shaken off. But like you said, Dave, the stuff looks good, and the stuff looks good. The results are gonna follow there. So I think they see him as the other key right-handed piece, right? So if you've got Kerkering and Romano coming through as right-handers, and you've got Alvarado and Strom as left-handers, that's 4 guys that you trust very much in the back of the bullpen, and some pieces in the middle there like Joe Ross that you feel pretty good about too. So
yeah, he had some stuff yesterday. A couple of his pitches were dancing. Like I know Joe Ross's name. I know he's a veteran, but to sit down and properly watch him pitch, I was quite. And it was a big inning from him, by the way, because that was a big spot to bring him in on. He had to keep a clean inning there because Sanchez out. We'd used Kirk at that point, so Ross coming in to be the sort of setup for Alvarado, and then for Romano. And I thought Ross did a encouraging, really good job. I was actually really impressed.
Yeah, he was a guy. He joined the roster. You thought he was going to be sort of like a mop-up duty guy, the guy that comes in when the starter gets knocked out after 2 or 3 innings to really give you bulk. But it seems like now maybe at least when Suarez is healthy, maybe Walker Stolmazine is a little bit more of that guy, and Ross can be effective in shorter bursts of maybe a high leverage situation. So that gives you another tool, another weapon.
Absolutely.
Runs count just the same as in the 5th or 6th inning as they do in the 8th or 9th. So you still need guys that can get you to those high leverage, dependable pitchers. And you feel pretty good about it so far.
Absolutely, and I'm very confident about tomorrow's game. Wheeler v Freelands. It should.
Baseball's a weird game, but
I know. Yeah,
I'm not betting against the Phillies in that one.
It'll be very Phillies to lose that tomorrow and then win the Walker game. That would be prime Phillies.
Exactly.
For me, for Walker, if he can just give us 5 innings, no more than 4 runs, I would take now. Even 4 innings, no more than 3 runs, 4 runs. Just keep us in the game and give us a chance of winning. I think that's all we want from Walker, right?
Exactly. It's not a high bar. The bar is on the floor.
Yeah, it really is.
Hopefully that takes some pressure off of him. I hope the fans of Citizens Bank Park don't get on him too bad, too early. Like, let's see. It's a new season. It's a fresh season. Let's see what the man can do. His velocity was up in spring compared to last season. This is a guy. Yeah, 7+ ERA last year. It was a nightmare. He has a long track record as a major league pitcher in this league, and that was really the first season he's had that's been like that. Now,
yeah, and I want to put it on record that I would love this guy to turn it around. I would. It would be a great underdog sort of story. I am rooting for him. I'm backing him when he takes the mound on Thursday. I'm going to back him. He's out there. He's got the pinstripes on. He's my guy.
Yeah.
He's on the mound. I want to see him do well. I don't want to jump on his back. I don't, like I said, just give us 4 or 5 minutes.
What a great redemption story it could be. And, again, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, people have just dismissed him completely. Like, this guy can no longer pitch. Well, he never really fully had it last year. His velo never really got there. It seems like he's doing a little better. The results in terms of stats in spring training weren't really what we would like to see, ideally.
Yeah. Working on things.
Of course. The good stats are good because they're great players, and the bad stats are bad because they're working on things.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We know how it goes.
So really, really hoping for the best for Walker. And look, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And hopefully Suarez comes back, and then you've got Painter to look forward to midsummer. And the rotation is still going to be okay with or without Walker. But what a great story it would be, and what a help to the team if he's a quality number 5 starter. When he came on board, we were thinking about him more as a middle of the rotation starter. All he has to be is a capable number 5. 4 to 4.5 ERA.
Yeah.
And
it would be nice. It would be nice to have the bats just back him up a little bit. Give him a lead, because he's never had that. The bats are never there. I don't know if it's a mental thing of when they went out there, they knew Walker was behind them, but let's give the guy a lead. Let's give the guy something,
Hopefully the Phillies are going to give him a chance too, and not just say, well, we would have to play 15 today, so. It would be great to see the guys take him to a lead, for Walker to go out there with some confidence and just have a good game. And he's in a good spot. If you're going to get started, and I feel this way about the entire Phillies team, to catch some luck with the Nationals and Rockies early on. Not a bad way to get your feet wet and get the regular season started, and then you flip the video game to hard mode, right, when the Dodgers come.
Yeah, this is a series. I
think we'll win the series. I'm just putting it out there. I think we'll win the series.
I've got a feeling LA never go well when they come to.
We'll be facing Sasaki on game 2 as well. I think we can get to him early. Get him out of the game early again.
Nola versus Sasaki and Yamamoto versus Sanchez. I think
that's a fun one. That's a fun one.
That's a good. It'll be the test of where we are right now. We're good because the Dodgers are on fire. They although are the Braves bad? Are the Dodgers
the Braves
good?
are bad.
I don't know. Yeah,
the Braves
it's one of those at this moment, isn't it? We'll go with the Braves are bad.
The Braves are always bad.
Look very good.
But yeah, I think the Phillies won the season series against Dodgers last year. That's lost in all the talk of can't beat the good teams type thing, which was always a ridiculous argument. I mean, all these teams, the schedule's going to balance out over the course of the year. Are like Phillies, Mets, Dodgers will play like 99% identical schedules. So you never can make too much out of this, but it'll be fun. Go ahead, finish up taking care of business against the Rockies, go into that Dodgers series 5-1 with the Dodgers maybe still undefeated, and see what happens there.
See, I would rather that because I feel these teams that then due a loss. They did due some losses. The runs can't go on forever and ever. And I want them to come in undefeated because then we can come in and take that away from them, get a Tani and crew out of there.
They are going to lose some games. Even this super team that they've created is not going to go 162-0. So, if it's got to be the Phillies to hand them a couple losses, they're a team that's capable of.
Absolutely. And I hope, I want the bank to be electric for that series. It's a big series, LA are the champions coming in. They're the overwhelming favorites. Let's get on their back. Let's give them. I think they've had it too easy. Atlanta looked empty the other night when I watched them against the Braves. The Tigers put up a fight. Actually, the Tigers weren't too bad. Some dodgy decisions in that series, but let's make it hostile. Let's get a bit of early October in there.
It's some October vibes in April. It is
right
for like the first week of April. This is about as good as it gets and as exciting as it gets. A very early test, and the upside is you get swept by the Dodgers. You lose 2 out of 3. Okay, it's April. Let's see what things look like more. And if you win, then you say, okay, let's plan the parade because we've obviously.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll be uncontrollable. I won't lie. That would be that would be something. John, it's been a pleasure to have you on, buddy. Thank you. Are you going to the Dodgers series at all? Any games?
I think I'll at least be there on Sunday, if not more.
Nice.
Oh, Chrissy Sanchez as well.
I missed that one. So
man, damn it! I wish I was there, man. If I had the money, if I had the time, I'm running a half marathon on Sunday actually, so I've got.
Okay, so maybe after that, I don't know, talk to your good friend Chase Utley. He's got money to spare.
Yeah, he's got a jet. Yeah, I can have him pick me up at the finish line, and away we go. I'll be dressed in the Phillies uniform.
I'll meet you both at Xfinity. We'll grab Miller Lights on me if Chase buys the plane ticket.
Can you imagine? I can imagine. I can actually imagine. Richard, any thoughts on Dodgers series before we?
I think, like I said, I think we're going to win it. I think hopefully Sasaki will be leaving the bank, thinking, "Damn, I wish I'd signed with them instead." What an atmosphere! What a team! I'm confident.
And maybe some of these pitchers from other leagues will maybe at least start giving the Phillies some consideration and at least have meetings where
exactly
are an actual opportunity. Maybe they can help make a name for themselves by putting some runs on the board. So it'll be fun. It'll really looking forward.
No, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it. I think we'll do well. We shall see, but I think we'll do well.
Yeah. Give me 2 out of 3.
Blind optimism. I was like, all of the Eagles last season, I was saying we were winning the Super Bowl. Even like after week 4, I was, I'm optimistic all the way.
Yeah,
not for the Flyers though.
The vibes are high right now, and hopefully, the way the city's fans work, that Eagles Super Bowl, it can sort of ease things up a little bit in the city. I mean, we had
BG and Saquon there the other night.
Yeah. The vibes are immaculate, right? We all know, if nothing else, we know this team is often powered by the vibes.
That's right. Yeah, and if we were to beat the Dodgers at the weekend, off the charts. Yeah, I'll
book a flight for October.
Just a little cheeky look at flights in October. Just a little dabble. And 2 of the games, by the way, for those in the UK, are UK friendly. Saturday, I think, is a 9:10 start. Yep. Sunday, 6:10. Good UK friendly times. So is the Walker game versus Sensatella. I think that's a 6.
Yeah, 6 as well. Yeah,
on the Thursday. Yeah.
And then like the week after is like it's all Braves at midnight. So like this week's the week to watch. Yeah.
Oh, and it's the Braves straight after the Dodgers.
I think there might be one in between, maybe. Is there not?
Yeah, the Braves will be the weekend. Surely they wouldn't have Braves midweek. There is. I've got a feeling the Reds are.
Oh no, it is the Braves straight after.
Is the Braves straight after Dodgers and Braves? Imagine winning those 2 series. Oh, what are we talking?
We could set it up early for a really fun summer, but one game at a time, right?
One game at a time.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Back to Wheeler versus Freeland tomorrow. Yeah, sorry. Yes, rein it in. John, Richard, thank you so much, guys. Everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the watch long yesterday as well. Great numbers. It's great to have you watching with us. It was a lot of fun in the end. Slow start, but we got there. We'll be back next Monday with Alex Carr back and special guest Destiny Legato from Phillies Nation as well will be joining us, hopefully, to discuss a Phillies win over the Dodgers.
A series win over the Dodgers.
Series. Okay, Richard. Okay, don't come on. We'll be back next week, guys. So thank you for listening. If you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe to either the YouTube channel or the podcast that you're listening on. It's been a pleasure to be brought to you. What am I doing? I'm waffling. I'm stumbling. Richard's got me excited about potential sweep. Tonight from me, Dave Shaw, it is Ring the Bell from Richard.
Ring the bell.
And from John, take
Ring
us
that
out.
bell, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.